let me introduce you to this planet Earth. Throughout history, human beings have been developing not only their lives, but the way they interact with their context. From the discovery of fire, the creation of the wheel, or the metal handling, to the introduction of artificial intelligence nowadays. Also, the way our planet is divided has changed drastically since prehistory. We have frontiers that create countries, politics that can decide who can live where, and basically the economy has been the game changer of which country can afford better infrastructure to the urban life that is developing. With this in mind, it can be stated that only the place where you are born can define your quality of life. Look, here we have James and Kadir. Both were born the same day, same year, but in different countries. James lives in Chicago, in the United States, and Kadir lives in Diyarbakir, Turkey, the unofficial capital of the Turkish Kurdistan. We can see them together and think they might even become friends in the future. But as they grow up, we are going to find some differences that can be alarming. While James has more opportunities in the future to finish 12 years of schooling, Kadir's school in Diyarbakir will have already been closed 4 times by the authorities. James is going to be able to speak and learn his native language while growing up in the States. Kadir is going to have trouble finding a school where Kurds are accepted for a whole scholar year, and also be able to learn in his native language. When trying to find a job, James is 5.30% likely to be unemployed, while Kadir's percentage goes up to 10.24%. Now, Kadir needs to leave his hometown, but the lack of education is going to be a troublemaker in his life. He has to conform with the opportunities he gets based on the resources he could use while growing up. In this perspective, Kadir is at an evident disadvantage between James. But let's change things more. Here we have Maryam, Kadir's sister. If you thought being a male kid in Diyarbakir was not the best option, imagine being a woman. Not only in this city but in the whole world, women are at a clear disadvantage since the moment of their birth. So, summing up to the scenario of her brother, Maryam needs to face stereotypes like women do not have to study. When she starts deciding who she wants to become for the rest of her life, comments like, "This is men's job," are going to appear. Then, trying to find a job here is not going to be easy as well. In fact, women with well-paid jobs are 39% less than men. Finally, if Maryam decides not to have kids to search for a professional life, she is going to be guilty of breaking the traditional Turkish family model. I know, all this sounds horrible, but now we have the power of change when solutions enter the life of these kids. Before they grow up, we can give them the tools they need with these concepts for innovation. Here we have the pop-up schools arriving to Kadir and Maryam's lives. You can easily tell it is only a box, but wait, when they open it, a square structure begins to inflate, only to become their school for the next couple of days. We have to remember that in this part of the world, sadly, armed conflicts are pretty common, so regular schools close to become shelters. We need structures that can be assembled quickly, and here is where the pop-up schools appear as a solution. Now look, here comes Bilal, a new friend of Kadir and Maryam. He is from Syria, and all his family has moved to Diyarbakir to escape from terrorist groups. But in some weeks, he is moving even more miles away. But don't worry, he is going to keep with him the magic box for pop-up, his personal school. But in all these cases, how does this school work? Well, when the structure is completely ready, the person who wants to use the cabin needs to register his or her personal ID in the sensor. The data that is going to be collected here is name, age, scholar year, interests, and localization. When this data is uploaded, the software can personalize the experience for the user, design a study plan according to the person, show them in virtual reality normal days lived by adults who have studied the professions that might be of interest to them, show them other countries in the world, and finally, a personal digital assistant that can help out with asking information to schools and universities for scholarships and how to afford everything needed to study abroad if they want to. Wow! Look how the pop-up schools have changed these kids' lives. They now seem more enthusiastic about their future and how they can live from now on. They are a complete new version of themselves. Now, our young adults, Kadir and Miriam, are looking for a job. They have returned to their natal city, Diyarbakir, to continue their lives. But where is the right place to announce they are searching for a job or to look for new offers? Well, in the center of the city, we find this, the new Diyarbakir's Community Center. It looks amazing, right? However, the real function for this is not only to give the city another image in front of the world, but being a useful tool to create coexistence among all the inhabitants. The outside of this sphere are LED panels, so any kind of announcement can be done, and everyone can watch it and hear it. New job opportunities, missing people, advertising, or even the news and movie theater and dance billboards. Inside, we have spaces for legal, mental, and medical assistance. Also, there is room for conferences, master classes, rehearsal spaces, and residences for artists, and also shelter space for the people in need for that. Finally, the shape of the center is changing depending on the light and weather conditions, only to discover in its center a beautiful outdoor theater for any kind of event. There is no doubt that this is one of the favorite spaces of the majority of the population, since it is a place that integrates the culture of the city and makes it an emblem of identity, promoting equality and respect among the community. Even now, Kadir and Mariam enjoy coming here on weekends with their newly formed families. Now that we have envisioned what the future of these children could be like, we can begin to perceive the way in which different industries and media can begin to change along with our lifestyles. For example, let's start with the political dimension of our society. Currently, people show great political disinterest, apathy, and even prefer not to be informed, since history has shown us that human nature and power are not good allies. Thus, what is proposed is a new political system of the future, monitored by a being that functions with artificial intelligence, in charge of making decisions, managing money, signing deals between countries, solving conflicts, and approving new laws. The main problem with this change is the moral implications that may exist. Therefore, it is recommended that artificial intelligence work hand in hand with human beings in order to have this emotional side that is required to make certain decisions. Secondly, the dimension of work is currently a highly debated topic. Since the time of the Industrial Revolution, human beings saw for the first time how they could benefit from technological advances to optimize productions. In our days, technology develops in such a fast way that, in whatever your field is, we must be constantly learning to be up to date, even more so in the world of work. Thus were born the training centers, places where constant training is offered for workers, financed by companies that seek to keep their employees updated. Within the center, they carry out tasks commissioned by the same company that hired them, with the difference that, When doing it in the center, they have constant and personalized help to grow not only within their current job, but also contribute to their development as a person. Finally, we have the entertainment industry, an industry that has been in constant flux since the beginning of human history. Now, with the aforementioned technological change, we have an even greater challenge since it has become a much more competitive, globalized industry that is in a constant search for innovation. But what is the biggest challenge facing this industry today? Easy, the presence. It is often talked about how much the digitalization of entertainment media has begun to distance people. Well, that's how virtual presence was born, this immersive experience. You can go to buy the device at your nearest store, your portal to the world of the virtual presence. And through teleportation, you can travel to the event that you like the most. It is not similar to what currently exists. What you are looking for is that literally your home becomes your new space to physically interact with people from all over the world in a matter of seconds. Although it might sound quite crazy out of a science fiction movie, the reality is that dreaming big is what allows you to give ideas for the development of new technologies. Urban life is changing around the world, but we cannot forget that it is really different for every country. And even in the same country, we can find a lot of different scenarios that may not be the best for everyone. The empathy is what should rule our lives in the future, not only to respect, listen, and help with the situation the other is going through, but respect with our own planet. The day we as a humanity understand that planet Earth is the only home in the universe we have, we are going to give environmental care the importance it deserves. Then, and only then, can we turn to the sides and convey that respect to the people around us. It's in our hands to change the world we now currently know. Not only for us, but for the future generations, for kids like Kadir, Maryam, and Bilal that may not have the same opportunities to accomplish their goals in life. We have to use the privilege with which we were born and start taking care for the others, with solutions that can change the game. So, which path will you choose?